dealing with the eBeam Edge wireless. This is our receiver unit here. We are attached. We do have to have power, so in this particular case we are plugged into the wall with a wall adapter and our USB cable. First thing that we have to do, because we've set up our temporary meeting room here, is we need to calibrate our screen. And that simply means that we've got to touch 9 points so that the program and the computer can tell exactly where we are, so that when we go back to start working with our computer, we have everything works properly. You do the calibration when you set it up. You may also need to do it intermittently if things start going hinky. You might want to work on it. You might want to do that as well. So now that we've calibrated, what you see here is my desktop, which is connected to our projector. And I'm now going to operate my desktop utilizing our wireless mouse, which is transmitting ultrasound and infrared to our receiver, and that's telling our computer what to do. So now I have turned my basic, very standard whiteboard into an electronic smartboard. First thing that we want to look at is our eBeam Home. This is a repository, if you will, of shortcuts that we can put on here. We've got our Scrapbook program, which we're working with today. We've got our eBeam Capture program, which is the whiteboard, turns the whiteboard into an electronic copyboard. And then we've got several files that I've also put links into so that we have an easy access to the stuff that we want. We don't have to search for it. For teachers, this is wonderful. You've got a lot of resources that you can go to. For businesses, again, training, anything, it puts it all right here. It is a shortcut so that you don't have to be searching your computer for the document that you want or the file that you want to have open. So we've already got our Scrapbook program open here, and we're going to now close this, and we're going to maximize that. So first thing we want to do is to open our eBeam training, which is this one right here. I'm going to say nope. Okay. So this is the training that we utilize when we do an on-site training. It's the same one that we're going to be obviously going through right now. Some of this is going to repeat some of the stuff that I've just said, but we're basically going to walk through each one of these in order to give you a flavor for what this program is all about. One of the things that we have available is hyperlinks, and we go through some of that later. But one thing we want to start with this is, first of all, we want to make sure that we're using our pointer.
So you're reviewing a design with the rest of your team. You've got a computer and a projector. But what happens when you come up with a change and want to sketch it? You can use a whiteboard, but you can't draw in your content. So
this is just showing a video that we have linked to through that hyperlink. So it provides an easy access to videos, JPEGs, any type of item that you might want to put inside of your presentation. All of these here with the little world on it is a hyperlink. So today we're connected with a USB Edge wireless. Great product, allows us to connect to our computer from our receiver up to roughly 50 meters, 150 feet. The very basic product is the eBeam Edge. You do have to be connected to your computer with a USB cable, but you can do that through, the cable is 15 feet long, but you can do that through USB extensions. We've also had a client that recently installed it in an old school, and the computer was considerably farther away from the whiteboard that the teachers were using, so they connected it via a Cat5 cable that was connected on either end with USB adapters, and it worked just fine. So distance-wise, you can go quite a bit with the USB cable if that's what you want to do. The wireless is nice in that you don't have to worry about that distance on the cable. For the USB model, we have to again be connected. As I said, you can be connected with your wireless with the USB cable or Cat 5 or 6. The wireless, we also have now an optional battery pack, which you can add to this. We don't have that yet. They're shipping, depending upon when you're watching this, they are shipping mid to late June 2013. It provides a roughly 12 hours of continuous use for the wireless receiver. So you literally have no wires whatsoever to be worried about, no USB cable. It just hangs on the back of the, plugs into the back of the wireless receiver. So we, as I've said before, we've turned our whiteboard, this is a very standard whiteboard, and it's now into, with our projector, it's now into a electronic smart board. We can do this with any flat surface. We can do this with a TV, we can do this with a solid painted wall, we can do this with a glass surface, we can do this with a monitor, whether it's your laptop monitor or a big screen monitor. All of that can be utilized and turned into that smart board. So we're controlling our computer from our wireless mouse up here at the board. As we've already said, gone through, we've utilized the calibration, so we're all ready to get going. Typically when we do a setup like this, by the time that the computer is actually started up, we can have everything connected, ready to go by the time the computer goes through its startup routine. 2, 3, 5 minutes, and that includes getting the projector up and running, mounting the receiver, so you can be very active at this and be ready to go at a moment's notice. And if you've got conference rooms that you're utilizing this in, you can get it going much faster, especially if you already have projectors that are part of that. When we go through our full training program, and we will have a video on the full training program, with the interaction that is involved, typically that's going to take about 2 hours, and that's going to give the user a real good solid base for utilizing this program. We're going to be touching on many of these aspects today, but not in great depth. This is more of what we cover in that entire training program. Again, we're going to cover all of this very briefly. So today we want to go through the Scrapbook program, the interactive stylus, drawing, working with tools and elements, the gallery, which is part of the education version. There are 2 versions of this, education and business. We like the education version better because it has some whistles and bells that the business version does not have. So that's what we present. We think it works, they work both equally well, but we get more power with the education version than we do with the business version. Gallery, really some neat stuff there. Navigating your computer, recording your meetings, and then holding an online meeting. So this is your stylus. This is it, simple, pen. The menu button, which is the second button right here, is the equivalent of the right button on your mouse. The tool palette button, which is a small circular one here on the back, turns our palette on and off, makes our palette come and go. It also runs the gesture navigation, which we're not going to go through today. We will have a video on that. Very cool feature that the eBeam provides. And then the tip of the pen is the equivalent to the left click on your mouse. And then you've also got underneath the, this is run by a single AAA battery that plugs in. This will run for quite some time, but obviously when things start going hinky, if recalibration doesn't function properly, then the next thing to do would be replace the battery. We've had batteries on our demo units that are used on a weekly basis, and they've been in it for 3 years and haven't been no issue at this point. So here's the basics of our Scrapbook program. Scrapbook, think of Scrapbook as an unlimited number of whiteboard screens that you can manipulate, add to, do whatever you want to. So it is basically taking a whiteboard and putting it on steroids, and that is the Scrapbook program that we're going to be utilizing. So we've got our menu bar up here, which is standard with most programs. We've got our Scrapbook toolbar, which is our graphic interface for specific elements. This inside is our page that we're working with, all of this white area in here. We have our thumbnails off to the side, which provide us with a visual representation right now where you can see this bolded here on number 11. That's the page that we're on. Our gallery is underneath this feature right here, and we're going to be going into more of it later. Turn that back off. And then you've got your Interact toolbar menu, which is down underneath your shortcuts down there. So that's everything that we're going to be on here that we're going to be covering. One of the things that we want to start off with saying is save your files, save early, save often. The Scrapbook program does not have a temporary file set up. So if your computer crashes, any changes you made to that file are gone. So save early, save often. One of the things that you can do with the Scrapbook and the Capture being the whiteboard product, is that you can save in a multiple of formats. The native are the ESB for the Scrapbook, the WBD for the Capture. The PDF saves it as a single document with multiple pages, as does the vector PDF. The bitmap, JPEG, GIF, and TIFF files are all individual. Each one of these pages would be an individual document. Keep that in mind when you're saving that you would have individual pages. PowerPoint, show, and slide are similar to the PDF, and it'll save it as a single file. It'll also save it as a meta file. I don't know what that is. Some of you geeks out there will know what that is. Okay, the tool palette. Let's back up here for just a second so that we understand what we're dealing with as far as our toolbar. We've got a variety of different ways of looking at our screen through these three buttons right here. Right now we are on the one that puts our toolbar, our page files over here to the right. We can also look at it in this view right here, which puts all the thumbnails in a visual format where you can see everything. And then if we scroll down here with this bar over here, you can see all of them. You cannot work in these files in this format. You must come back to one of the other ones. So this is a full page, so our thumbnails are gone off to the side, and we navigate up here with our forward and our back buttons. We also have the ability to go all the way to the back, all the way to the front, and we will get back to where we were here on number 13. We also have when we push on that one, we have a floating toolbar, so our toolbar can float anywhere that we want it to be. We can also turn that off, and then back through our menus button, pull that back up. Okay, so let's go back to this one here. The green with the plus on it right here is adding a blank page. This one here duplicates the page that it's on. We have a deletion of the page, so the entire page would be gone. And we have an eraser button where it will erase everything on the page. These deal with our online meeting functions that we have here in terms of starting a meeting, adding participants. We've got the gallery, which we had showed you already. We have a cover page. We have a spotlight, and then this feature here is used for a camera that you may have one may attach. This button over here on the side changes the menu bar from the top to the task menu from the top to the bottom. It does not change the menu. So if you are a height challenged person, which I am not, you can drop that down there, but all the other features as far as the menus are still going to be here at the top. So we're going to start off with our Scrapbook Tools palette. As I said, this is our palette right here. And again, you make the palette come and go by this third round button. One of the neat features is that as you're working in your on your Scrapbook, you may not need to have the palette, but wherever you point the pen and push, your palette shows back up. So it can be wherever you need it to be on your screen, but then also out of the way. So on the tool palette, we've got our marker pen, we've got a highlighter feature, we've got text and shapes. So underneath this triangle here, when we pull this down, you'll see that there's going to be the ability to have another feature. We've got our on-screen keyboard, we've got an eraser. This is our pointer down here. We have the ability to screen capture elements, and we can magnify as well. So we'll start off with the basic tools palette here, and as you can see, when you touch on this, we've just expanded each one of these elements. What we're going to start with here is we're going to pull up tool palette. We want to make certain that we have our pen selected, and as you can see, when we selected our pen, now we have 8 different colors that we have to choose from. So we're going to choose green. We also have, when we touch on this on the right hand section of the circle, we also have 4 different size elements that we can write with. So we'll make that go away, and then we simply start writing. And I know this is what you really wanted to see, is how this thing works. So that's doing green. Let's change up our color here, and we'll do a little bit larger writing. So it's just like writing with a marker. Come back. All right, so one more, and we'll make it really big. Okay. So it's just like writing with a marker on your whiteboard, in that we have chosen our pen. We've got 8 different colors, we've got 4 different sizes, and we simply start writing. I'm not an artist, so we're not going to get into the fancy dancy stuff here. But one of the things that I do want to show you and go through here, we're going to create a new blank page right here, and we're going to cover. We're going to come back. We're going to pick a different color. Let's choose green, and we'll do that one there. Let's pick another color. We'll make this red. We'll start writing with a small, yes, this is a house. Don't laugh. Okay, and one more element that we want to put in here is a purple flower. Scrawny little thing. But I'm doing this to show you one of the aspects that we have of this, which is important for you to understand. As we write elements on the wall, as we draw, as we type, as we do anything here on this, the computer program is designed to group items together depending upon when you lifted the pen or how much time was spent between drawing elements. So if I look at this, I have this base piece here as a separate element. If I look at the house, we'll see that's a separate element. But what I've got here is the door. Because I drew this within a certain period of time, even though I picked up my pen, the door with the doorknob became one element. The same thing is true with all of this right here. Because I drew it within a certain period of time, all of that becomes one particular element. Over here on the flower or the tree, that part is separate from this part. So, and we're going to go through some of the grouping and ungrouping, but just keep in mind that as you're doing stuff here, and then you start to maybe want to make changes, that type of thing, things might get a little hinky because, depending upon, again, time frame as far as how long it took you to, in between making each one of these marks, it may be combined, it may be separated. We have the ability to explode it all, which we're going to go through later. So our next element is the highlighter. The highlighter function, again, when we click on the highlighter, we've got 8 different colors, but you can see these now are more of the fluorescent colors like you'd get with a highlighter. We also have 4 different sizes of the pen. So we're going to stick with the big one here. And as I draw over my lines, you can see that the highlighter is coming through. So when you need to highlight something, as is the purpose of a highlighter, you have the ability to change your color, change your thickness, and do whatever it is that you want to do. So that's the highlighter function. I know, very, very simple. Okay, let's move on. We're going to go continue to go around the wheel here. The next element on our wheel is going to be utilizing the shapes. And I get to the shapes by clicking on the diamond or triangle and holding that down until I highlight the shapes button, which is underneath the text button. So now I've got my shapes, and as you can see, we've gotten to the window here, that you have the ability to select 8 different shapes. We've got our closed square, open square, shaded square. We've got our circular pattern, open, and we've also got a closed one. We've got a straight line, we've got a line with arrows on both ends, and we have a line with an arrow on one end. So we're going to start here with our square, and we're going to select orange, and we simply start drawing. Come back here, and we're going to draw an open square. We're going to change our color, and we're going to draw an open square there. We also have, as I mentioned, as all of these do, we have the ability to select a larger or different shape, different size shape or line that we're drawing here. So you can see this was the medium size, this is the large one. Let's do a couple more here. Let's do an open circle, and we're going to do that in black. And then we're going to change up the color, the size of it one more time, change up the color to purple, and change R to a shaded element here. Okay. And then let's just throw in a couple lines here so that you see what it is that we're writing with. And one more. Okay, so that covers pretty much most of them at this point. So now I want to point out one of the things that you have is these are all elements. Again, we've drawn these within a specific, there's been enough of a break within the time frame by which we had drawn these, so they are all individual elements. And as with many programs, drawing programs, you have what is called layering. So this was the very first element that we drew, which was the orange square. Layering means that this is on the bottom. We then drew this one right here, the open one. So this one is going to be on top. Our purple one was next, and it's going to be, but it's shaded. So you're going to see that coming through. But you can see here clearly that because of the where that was drawn, that the purple is overshadowing the blue. Same thing with this one. These elements are coming on top so that the blue line is now taken, covered up. And then this one is, again, covering up all of those. So we've layered these depending upon when they were drawn. But we have the ability to change that layering if we want by going to the right-click button, the second one, and changing the order of that. That if we want to send this to the back now, our circle, our black oval, our black oval is now behind all of the other elements that we had on there. So you can change these things up and move them around. Same thing would be true with the lines. Now we also have the ability to change the shape of them if we want. We can take this out and we can rotate it. We can increase the size of it. While we can't increase the width of this, we can increase the length of this particular one here. Grab that, drag that. So you have the capability of changing these depending upon what it is that you want to do.